Welcome back to Behind the Lines, our Four County podcast where we talk about all things Four County. This is our second version, and we're very excited about it. We've had I'd say a pretty busy month, Brian, since the last time we did this. A few things going on.
Yeah, very busy. It's been a strange year, John, between COVID and the hot summer we've had. I think we've had the wettest year we've had in 142 years, according to TVA. And then the daunting task of broadband between the executive staff here working on it, the legislatures, our board. We've been knee-deep in all these projects, and this year has flown by because we've been so busy, but I'm loving every minute of it.
That's right. It's fixing to be August, and pretty soon fall will be here, and New Year before we know it. But it's very exciting because you've got some big news to talk about.
Yeah, I think most of you heard by now through the PR John's put out, through what the commercial dispatches said. We are getting into the broadband business, and a lot of credit due to our board, the work they've done. Again, the executive staff has worked hard on this, and the legislatures really came to the table. The legislatures came, I think, unanimously to put this money together to give broadband to the underserved and unserved communities in Mississippi, and springboarded us into getting into broadband. So thank the legislatures for the work they did, and the board and the staff.
And this was a pretty quick thing that came up.
Very quick. From the time we had word that it was in infancy to fruition was probably about a month. So we didn't have the time. We really had to react. I mean, just we reacted in the right way, but you would think something of that magnitude, $75 million, would take longer than a month to put feet on the ground, and it happened fast.
It did, and so there was a lot of folks that were involved, as you said, the public utilities staff, and Sally Doty, the new executive director.
Sally did a great job. Thank you, Sally.
And our statewide group helped pull this together.
Yes, Callahan and his group down there in Jackson, they worked closely with Sally and the legislatures. Our hats off to them. Could not have done it without them.
And then there was a lot of work actually done in this room with the board and you and the executive staff, but we got it done and we're ready to go. Let's talk a little bit about that. So we got money to do 3 small projects across the service territory. You want to talk about that a little bit?
Sure. I think most of our sister co-ops are probably focusing in one area or their whole membership. We thought it was a good place for us to start with 3 pilots, mainly because we're a large co-op. We're either the 4th, 5th largest co-op in the state. It bounces back and forth. So we have, 49,000 different members we serve. We're a large co-op in terms of cooperatives. We wanted to branch off in 3 areas so we can get out farther in our membership and serve more members that way. Utilize this money to the fullest extent we could and serve the most members by doing so.
That's right. And talking about this grant, we were under a lot of restrictions, basically, as to what we could use the money and where we could use the money for. So when we talk about that, we chose these places, but that was due to a lot of consideration. Some of it was making sure, or the big part of it was making sure that these areas were considered underserved or unserved. So these are the people that need it most.
That's right. What we're hearing from some people is, why aren't you coming to this county? Why aren't you coming to that county? Because we're targeting the people that do need it most, like you just said. Some of the other counties have a little more competition than these areas, right?
That's right.
These are the most unserved areas in our territory, and it's fitting that that's where we start.
And that's exactly right, because when you go back and make the argument that this is just like the 30s, when nobody would come out and serve those 1 and 2 farms out in the middle of nowhere, it was co-ops that did it, and this is exactly the same thing. These 3 areas are some of the hardest to get to, the most rural, the most expensive to get to, so it's a really great thing that this is where we're going to start.
Yes, I think it's great, and I think, John, you pointed this out, that the state's helping us a lot with this grant, about $5.4 million. It's only going to serve a small portion of the total project if we are to move forward, right?
That's right.
Our total project is $110 million plus initially on the first feasibility study. So it's just a drop in the bucket of the total cost that the board and the cooperative have to bear if we move forward.
That's right. So let's kind of put that in perspective. We were awarded about $5.5 million from the state, and we're going to match that at about $7 million.
That's
for
right.
a total project cost of about $13 million, which is about 13% then of 100 or less than that of a $115 million project. So it is small. It's going to be 493 miles of line.
That's right.
Total. and hit about 2,400 members.
That's
and
right.
so that 493 miles of line is only 9% of our total 5,500 plus miles of line.
That's right.
2,400, you said it earlier, we got 40,000 plus members, so that's only about 6% of our membership. So people need to be patient. Right?
That's right. And we've asked that the whole time. Even when we started this process over a year ago, looking at it, we did 3 feasibility studies. Our motto the whole time, John, to your credit, I think you came up with it, was we're going to be part of the solution if we're not the solution. So I think we've come to the decision that we want to be the solution, right?
That's right.
We want to move forward with that. Just be patient with us. Give us time. Be patient. This is a new business venture, and we're here to serve you.
That's right. And we didn't leave out people.
No.
In other areas, you have to start somewhere.
That's right.
And again, this was under the grant that we got to do this project or these projects. We had to take places that are underserved and unserved, and we picked some of the people who had the worst of the worst service.
That's right. That was the goal of the legislatures when they passed this bill. We want to adhere to their goals, and we want to overpromise, underpromise, and overdeliver.
And I'm excited. I think we're all excited. The staff here is ready to get going. We understand how impactful this is going to be for a lot of people, and I think there's a lot of excitement, a lot of energy in this building right now to move forward.
You can feel it when you walk around the hall. People are excited about this. They are. A little bit of the unknown, but we're learning, and we're going to do great at it.
All right. And what would you say to some of those folks who might be a little frustrated out there about not being in one of these areas?
Yeah, just let us know what your expectations are, why you want our service to be there, and just be patient with us. We really feel like there's more to come, but just hang on.
So I know that there's a lot of things, and that's probably something else that folks might be a little frustrated at. We want to provide as much information as we can. Some things we just don't know right now.
That's right. Yeah, I mean, remember, this is a new business. We've done a great job in the electric industry, in the electric cooperative, for 80 years. This is year 1 of this new fiber business that our expertise is energy, and they have a lot of similarities, but they also have a lot of differences. So we're learning as we go.
That's right. And this is a good time to bring in our manager of information technology, David Kilpatrick. And David is sort of our broadband guru. He's been really up to his elbows in all of the technical stuff on this. David, welcome.
Thanks, John. I don't know if I would say I'm a guru at anything at this point, but we've certainly spent a lot of time talking about fiber here and learning a lot. This is new to us as well, but it's something that we're super excited about getting involved in.
Well, tell us a little bit. I know we bandy about a lot of terms, and we forget that folks might not understand exactly what we're talking about. So kind of break down broadband. When we're talking about what we're going to actually be doing, what does that mean?
Well, so if we go to a very high level, then what we're talking about is placing fiber optic cable on our poles. The communication is done through light over this the fiber optics. The speed of light is the speed of broadband, and it's going to be able to deliver a product that the vast majority of our members can't get today from any other provider.
All right, we talk about speed. That's one of the key issues of defining broadband. Talk about that a little bit.
Yeah, so if you look at just the physics of it, light, this is going to travel via light, and light's faster than anything else we can measure at this point. What's currently being delivered to a lot of our customers that do have some type of service is over copper, and copper has physical limits as to how much speed you can push through that. So typically what you're seeing in homes right now is anywhere from 10 meg. Some of them may get up to 100 meg through their cable service, but not many can provide that right now. Fiber has almost unlimited speed capabilities. Right now the capability is based on the electronics, but we're looking at being able to put a product out there that can deliver gigabit speeds to our members. And with the future potential, depending on the electronics, of going even higher than that, to even 10 gigabit speeds. All that will depend on the electronics, but there's really no limits that we can see right now. It's just what speeds would be available. And when you talk about speeds, then you're talking about what you can actually deliver and what you can do with the product. For example, I'm at my house. I do a lot of streaming, And I have Netflix, and I can stream Netflix okay. But if my son is wanting to play one of his video games and I'm on Netflix, then we start running into issues because I have a speed limitation. The more speed you have available, the more bandwidth that you have available, then the more services you can be doing at the same time. So you can have multiple people playing video games online and multiple people streaming services online, and all those things add up. And the more bandwidth you have, the more that you can do with that.
And that's a good point. And to circle back to an area that Brian is familiar with. Brian, you serve on a local school board, so you are well aware of how impactful, and especially now with COVID, that speeds like David's talking about, access to that sort of stuff is really important for the world right now, and especially our area.
Well, talking about education, what I'm hearing is there's really not a right or wrong answer on when school's going back. Some people view it as we just need to go back in full force. Some people view it as we need to go back staggered. Some people view it as we need to delay it. So every parent has a somewhat different opinion of that. But the one constant we hear is you need better internet access so they can do their work more remotely than they traditionally have in the past. I think that's going to be the new standard moving forward, even in a college situation. I think you're going to see more people doing distance learning. Distance learning's probably been around 30 years, way back when I was in college, but it's just more prevalent now. It's easier now, makes more sense now, and we need to deliver that service to people that don't have that service. Right now, a lot of people probably leave their house, go to a hotspot somewhere to download stuff. It's the new normal, the new way of life, and I think we need to provide the most people with that option.
That's right, and that's one thing that we hear a lot is frustration with people who have internet currently, is that it's unreliable and it's not fast enough. It doesn't allow them, and I've got a point here. It doesn't allow them to do the things that they want to do, and especially if you're talking about having to download classes or watch something live, to do your homework, to do projects, to get out in the internet, to get out into the world at large. That speed and that reliability is very important, and in that, fiber is the gold standard. And when we say we're going to be able to bring a particular speed, we say up and down. Talk about that. What does that mean?
Right. So a lot of services that are provided now through cable companies and the local telcos, they may give you a pretty good download speed, but the upload speeds are typically capped on the lower end. And what that does is it allows you to download something. So if you want, again, back to the Netflix example, if you're watching Netflix, that's a download. But if you're trying to communicate with someone, or if you need to send data up, then that's an upload. And when you get even if you've got a 25 meg download, you've only got a 3 meg upload, then you have a limitation there that can cause issues.
So if you're trying to send a project back for school, or
right.
Something that we all know, pictures take up a lot of space.
Yes.
If you're doing anything with graphics or pictures in there, that takes up a lot of bandwidth, I guess, right?
That's right. And additionally, so in thinking of distance learning, if you've got someone who's actually attending a class remotely, so you're actually watching a live class remotely, your video going back and forth is going to take up that bandwidth as well. What we're looking at is a symmetrical up and down. So it's going to be, if your service is 100 megabits down, you're going to have 100 megabits up. That's just the nature of what we're going to be able to provide. The other companies can't provide that. The other services cannot provide that type of symmetrical throughput. And again, it's just as things have changed, and just thinking of COVID, how many of us have had to attend some type of meeting sitting in our house with a video conference? And there are a lot of people across our service territory who've struggled with that, or even had to leave their house to go somewhere, as Brian mentioned earlier, just to get on a hotspot, just so they could participate in that type of meeting. So the opportunities for people moving forward, whether it be working from home, or remote learning, or any number of things, those opportunities are going to be available to them now.
And in fact, my wife is doing a conference that got moved to remote through Zoom. She's doing a presentation today, and she said she was actually going to be doing what she called a presentation mullet. She's going to be wearing business on the top and Jamie's on the bottom. So the world is a crazy place anymore. But yes, everybody's doing. We've been doing a lot of Zoom meetings here. We certainly understand how that has changed, and again, being really excited about helping move everybody forward to be able to take advantage of all this.
And David, too, maybe talk about the devices people have in their homes. Used to you just had a TV where you could download apps, Netflix, but now people have wireless security systems, and a lot of the appliances coming out are going to be wireless. So the demand on your current internet service providers are going to be greater in the future.
Right, that's a really good point. Just in thinking of my house, of my wife and my son and I bet we've got 12 connected devices right now at our house for 3 people. And that doesn't include things like smart. I don't have a smart TV. I have a device plugged into it, but I don't have a smart TV. But that's kind of becoming the norm. Doesn't include a smart appliance. I don't have any smart appliances at my house. But I mean, time is only going to increase the number of devices that you have at your house that is going to require, or at least maybe not require, but would benefit from having some type of connectivity.
There's the Internet of Things.
The Internet of Things.
You may hear that, and that's going to be, there's going to be a world at some point when your refrigerator will automatically go to Alexa and order milk because it can sense that you're, running low. It'll turn your lights on when you're coming home and cut your air conditioner on and off and your water heater. I mean, it's an amazing. There's a lot of stuff out there but it all depends on connectivity.
Yeah, I know it's a different topic for a different podcast, but it's just how fast electric vehicles have progressed, right? Well, that's on the cusp of really taking off too. So all this technology, and I know it's been brewing, but it seems like it's finally got to the point where the economics are there on a lot of these things, and it's going to take off.
Yeah, and all of that technology has to have a backbone to run on.
Good point.
Just like all the electricity that our customers use today. When you go back to the 1930s when they only had maybe the one light and maybe some small appliance, how many electric appliances do we have now? And so all of that needed a backbone to run on. All of the technology that's here today and it's going to be here in the next 5, 10, 20, whatever years, that has to have a backbone to run on to be able to communicate. And so this is when you speak of fiber, there's no better backbone for communication to run on. There are some other things out there, but nothing can compete with what fiber can bring to the table as far as a backbone.
I'm glad you said that, because one of the things we really looked at early on, John, all of us, was what impact is a satellite going to have on this. And I think you touched on it in some of your conversations a while ago. It just doesn't have the bandwidth that fiber is going to give people.
Right. When you think of satellite communication, and there's some new things coming down with satellite that I don't know enough about to speak with any intelligence. But I do know that one of the limitations you've always had with satellite is latency, which is the amount of time it takes to respond back to a request. And where that comes into play in today's society, today's world, is if you think of the video, try to do a Zoom conference over a video conference over the internet, and everything is slowed down because I responded to you, but you didn't hear me respond yet because I'm on the satellite and you're waiting. So latency is an issue with satellite. We just don't know that the bandwidth is going to be there. They're launching some tests, but I don't see, and the experts that we have talked to don't see satellite communication being anything that would excel beyond what fiber can provide.
And weather is always a factor too.
Weather's a factor. Now there will be a place for satellite, right? So there might be a place somewhere in this country that's just too far away for anybody to reliably provide a service. So satellite would have its place.
It serves its purpose, but
that's right.
Broadband and fiber is the answer for
That's
us.
right. That's right.
That's right. So let's kind of bring this back to our project, and we know there's competition out there. We know that we're bringing the gold standard in. We don't know how much exactly it's going to cost members yet, but we do know that there will be competitive pricing, so we'll be able to be right in the same ballpark as the folks that are out there right now. Maybe better than some, maybe worse than others, but the point is it'll be the gold standard. It'll be as fast as you can possibly want.
Yes.
And it will do everything that you need it to. It'll be reliable. It'll come to you with that same member service that Fort County provides right now, because we're part of this community. We care. It's important to us. But mostly, Brian, we need people to sign up for the service when it's available to them. We need them to take it to make this successful.
I want to emphasize what you're saying. We're working on creating a subsidiary to operate this business, but we want you to have the same level of customer service and appreciation and response you're used to getting with Fort County Electric Power Association, That's our concrete foundation for this subsidiary we're doing. But we want your support. We need your support moving forward. We think we are going to be the gold standard in terms of service and product, but this is member owned, right? Y'all own this. It's a not-for-profit venture. The bottom line is not going in the pockets of any of the staff or the board here. It's going back into the plant of this operating entity. It's going to be owned by your members. We want you to take pride in it, and we need your help.
That's right. And the goal here is to make it self-sustaining, and if it does happen to make money, then that money will eventually benefit the electric side.
That's right.
So I guess the things that we're asking then of members is be patient. We'll communicate what we can when we can.
Yes, sir.
The folks that will be affected by these first 3 projects will be marketed to, because we're not going to hide our light under a bushel. We said, we need folks to take this service. We need to make it pay off. And so we don't have a full timetable for what it happens next. But we need, if we make this first one successful, then we think that this is going to be a springboard to that whole territory. Right now will be connected at some point here in the future, hopefully the near future.
Yep, and I hope when you think of 4 County and our subsidiary that we're going to create, the name is going to come out soon, John.
That's right.
Hope you associate our motto that we have of honesty, integrity, and service, because that's what we're going to provide you in both of those organizations.
That's exactly right. And in the meantime, if you have questions, you can call us at our 800 number. You can email us at broadband@4county.org, and we're happy to answer whatever questions we can, whatever concerns you might have. One final thought,
Sure.
Brian, before we sign off. We did get our surveys finally done,
Yes.
and it told us basically that a majority of the membership are for us moving forward.
Yes, that's correct. No, we've had a few surveys done, and they've been consistent in what they're telling us, that there's a need out there. There's some people that don't have service, and if we provide the same level of service, we think it's going to be successful.
That's right. So we're looking forward to launching this project. Well, it's going to be a lot of work, but it's going to be a huge impact to those folks that are going to get it first, and then we hope this is just the start of a really robust build
Yes,
out.
I'm excited. Let's
All
do
right.
it.
Well, that's it for this month's Behind the Lines. Thank y'all for joining us, and we'll be back again the end of next month to tell you what's going on here at 4 County.